There was a phase in my career when I slowly started realizing that my job was not just taking my working hours, it was starting to take over my personal life as well. I want to share something that happened to me a few years ago when I was working on one of my projects. So at that time, the project itself was not unusual. It was a normal IT project with deadlines, client calls, and regular deliverables. But slowly, without realizing it, my work started extending beyond office hours, and I started affecting my personal spaces. In the beginning, it did not look like a problem. There were a few late evenings because of production issues. Sometimes the team had to stay longer because of urgent releases. So I told myself that this is a normal in IT projects and it will settle down soon. But the problem was that it did not settle down. Late evenings slowly became a routine. Even after coming home, my mind was still thinking about the code, the bugs, the pending task for the next day. I remember there were days when I was physically at home but mentally still inside that project. Someone in my family would be talking to me, and I would suddenly realize that I had not even heard what they said. My mind was still replaying a production issue from earlier day in the day. Even on weekends, sometimes I would open the laptop just for a few minutes to check something, and those few minutes would turn into hours. One day I noticed something that really made me pause. I had taken a small break from work and stepped outside for a walk. But instead of enjoying the walk, my mind automatically went back to the project. That is when it hit me. Work was no longer staying inside my working hours. It had quietly entered my personal life. So at that point, I realized that if I did not make a change consciously, this pattern would continue. So I started doing a few simple things. First, I began setting clear boundaries for myself. Once I finished my work for the day, I tried to mentally close the work loop instead of carrying the problem into the evening. Second, I started using small breaks intentionally. Instead of sitting with the laptop after work, I would step away completely, even if it was just for a short walk or a small quiet time. And third, I reminded myself that work problems don't always need to be solved immediately. Sometimes the best things you do is come back to them the next day with a fresh mindset. So it did not change overnight, but slowly I noticed that my mind became calmer outside working hours. I could actually enjoy time with my families and friends without constantly thinking about the project issues. And interestingly, when I returned to the work the very next day, I was often able to solve problems faster because my mind was not exhausted. So, looking back at that phase, I learned something important. Work pressure is normal in many professions, especially in IT. But if we are not careful, work can quietly start occupying spaces in our life where it does not belong. So, for me, the lesson from that experience was very simple. Work is an important part of life, but it should not become the only thing occupying your mind. Sometimes the best way to become better at your job is to step away from it for a while. That is all for this video, guys. Thank you.